Mary Radspinner and John Gill both run Melody's Traditional Music, the only harp business in Houston.
First off, it's Melody Productions Incorporated because we actually have two distinct businesses. Our retail division, which is Melodies, which I guess is what you're concerned with, and then Afghan Press Music Publishing, because we also publish music. So we're multiple hats, which to answer your question, I do all the bookkeeping, all the business end of things, all the government regulations required with running any kind of business, things like payroll, Texas Workforce Commission, IRS forms, and which is pretty standard in a general business sense for things overall. Now, as far as harp related go, I answer questions for people on the phone about harps, trying to help them find the right music, or they're calling to place orders. We ship all over the world because there's very few harp stores. So I wear a lot of hats because there's not many harp techs around there, which is why I do harp repair because there's not too many options in this area. I also handle harp sales, wear a lot of hats. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I do more of the marketing. I do Facebook and I I built both websites. Um, and I kind of choose what our inventory is going to be. Um, I look at the music and I kind of decide, yeah, I think our customers will want this, or no, our customers are not going to want this, or we'll look at something and we'll go,
This is well done. Let's carry it. Or this, how many more versions of green sleeves do we really need out there? So we also, with the publishing and too, we make artistic. She's more our artistic director. So um, again, many hats.
yeah, and we'll look at a piece of music and we'll say, well, this looks a little easy and it looks like it's a duplicate of another artist's arrangement of a particular piece. So then we'll decide maybe we don't want to carry it. Most of the stuff that gets presented to us, we do carry, but there was one set of music in particular when I tried to play it, it was so clumsy, and I thought, oh, we cannot put this on our website because it was just not. It was written for the piano, not for the harp. So that type of thing. I take a lot of the Afghan press publications and I write in fingerings and brackets and edit it for harp when the artist doesn't know how to do that. If they don't know how to work in finale, and I do, then I'll put in a correct repeat sign or put fingerings in and brackets for them, that kind of thing. I'll make announcements on the web. I do the webinars. I do a few webinars here and there. So yeah, that's what I do.
What is your favorite thing about running a business for harpists?
You want to go first?
Uh, that's a tough question because we have such a wide variety of people who play the harp or want to play the harp. You have people your age, for instance, possibly going through classical training with the idea of your best opportunity is getting into a high school orchestra. Then we have older people who are just interested in playing the harp. They could care less about a pedal harp. They just love the harp. They want to play a lever harp. It's fine for them. We have 70 and 80-year-old harpists who are more interested in how much a harp weighs, something light and easy to carry rather than having the grandiose pedal harp. And then we have people that are attracted to harp to play in church for worship situations. We have
And therapeutic.
therapeutic is a very big growing field, people who want to do healing with the harp. Then we have pagans and Renaissance people who just want to play Celtic, Irish type tunes and have fun. So uh, we have a wide variety of customers on why they come to the harp. So it's fun to deal with a wide variety of people. different attitudes towards the instrument. We're not judgmental. Everybody has their own thing that they're into, and it's very much a conglomeration of people I get to work with, and I love that.
What are some of the challenges running a music business?
Oh, well, the challenges are, and they're challenges that no one really wants to hear about. But our couple of years ago, it was 2019 or 2020, the COVID year. Our websites both got hacked, and our websites were down completely. We had no one could even find us on the web because our websites had been infected with malware. And so Google would not recognize us. That was a downside. That was very stressful trying to rebuild both websites. And it took a while, but we got them rebuilt. I think that they're better than they were before. They're more on a better platform. But the interesting thing about that was because we didn't have the exposure that we needed at that time, I decided to start teaching again. And so it was really kind of fun to start teaching and getting more reacquainted with harp teachers and harp techniques and harp method books. So that was just another avenue that I kind of turned down. And I think that that has been beneficial to our business, focusing more on teachers. So anyway, that was one of the downsides of running a business. You have to keep your website up, and if something goes wrong, you have to fix it right away. You can't be, off on a vacation in Cancun and your website goes that you have to be there to fix it right away.
Would you say there is a huge demand for harp products in Houston? If so, how do you handle these situations, or what do you wish you could improve to satisfy all your customers?
I'm not sure that there's such a demand in Houston. It's just that we're the only harp store in Texas, so people come from far away. So we how do we handle a situation where we have a lot of demand? I don't know.
Well, we work with what we can do and what we can't do. Uh, as far as trying to run a harp store in Houston proper, uh, it's a small market. So right now, you probably heard the expression "a big fish in a little pond." And Amir used to have the comment, "Well, we're more like a shark in a bathtub," uh, uh, because we're it. So it's a need, but it's a very niche market. We would not be able to run a harp store in Houston, period. There's just not enough of a market for harp compared to like violins. I tell people that if you take up violin, you got 4 different stores here in the Houston area who can service them, sell them to you, rent them. Uh, there's a if you're in a high school orchestra, you might be the only harpist, although different school districts are now getting 2 and 3 harpists in their high school orchestra, which is a vastly different than it used to be. But you've got 40 or 50 violins and cellos. So, and that's per high school. So there's a much more of a market for supporting, in the case of violin shops, for instance, you got your Lyle, you got your Amati, Fishburne, and they're all doing very well because they have a much broader base just locally.
But I want to speak to that. They want nothing to do with carrying harp stuff because it's not they're not comfortable with it. It's not their forte
or they don't know what they're doing with them.
Yeah, they don't know what they're doing. So it's like nobody in Houston really wants to deal with harps that is a retail store except for us. Because they just want to stay away from it. They don't want to touch it because it's it's not an unusual or uncommon instrument. I mean, lots of people play the harp. There's lots of harp resources all over. It's just when it comes to hands-on in a city, in a community, when it comes to hands-on, there it looks like we're the only ones that want to do that.
What are some of the everyday tasks you have dealing with customers?
Okay, so for example, today I'm putting up a bunch of new music, not a bunch, 4 new titles from Barbara Fackler, and she only does downloads, only does PDF. And a lot of times the artist will call me or email and ask advice on how to sell things on the web. What is the best price? And once again, the music, the price of printing has gone sky high. So that's why a lot of harpists are just doing PDF downloads. But for example, her question was, how can I get PayPal to work on my website? Because PayPal has a certain amount of code that you have to figure out how to put those little buttons on your website. And she said PayPal's code has become so intricate, so difficult that she can't figure out how to put it on her website anymore. So just that kind of thing where you just talk to people about different ideas on how they can make their things more accessible to people, not necessarily even through us. I mean, I think that that's kind of what makes us a little bit different, is that we kind of help other harpists be successful in their own thing, rather than saying, well, we can sell that for you, we can do that, it's only us, we can only make money for you. But no, we like to be supportive of everybody in whatever they're doing. If they're teaching, if they're gigging, we help our, kind of counsel harpists in how to get gigs and how to start gigging. And then one of the questions is, what's the best music therapy program I can take? And that's
politically charged.
Yeah, that's a question that we don't like to answer. But getting back to your original question of website, yeah. So today I'm putting up a lot of Barbara Fackler. Yesterday I got a message from Sylvia Woods just telling me that I had a little typo on the website. Thank you, Sylvia. But so I had to change a little typo on our website, and that's cool. I love it when people tell me that, because otherwise, I don't know. It's very easy to make a little mistake. Let's see what else. Just putting up, as more and more people make YouTubes of their music, and I try to represent those YouTubes on our website by putting those on the admin side and on the back end. For a while there, some of the PDFs were not downloading correctly. People were buying like an Angie Bemis PDF. It was all of Angie Bemis's for some reason. They would buy an Angie Bemis PDF and it would come up blank, and they'd send an email, this is blank. So I had to go through all of the Angie Bemis PDFs and change the title and re-upload them, because I don't know what was wrong with it, but by changing the title and re-uploading it, that fixed the problem. So we have what is called a watermark or a timestamp program. Sometimes that timestamp program will misinterpret the artist's PDF, and this can happen to anyone who puts a PDF on anyone's PDF. There might be something just a little bit weird about the PDF.
Keep that general. You're getting too detailed.
Am I getting too deep? Well, yes. She wanted to know what the little things are. So anyway, it's stuff like that's what I deal with.
How do you believe your music background helps you connect with your customers?
John is really good at teaching people 1, 4, and 5 chords, because a lot of times harpists come in and they've never had any theory, and they don't understand E flat tuning. They have no comprehension of E flat. With E flat, your levers are down. So John explains all that to them and explains 1, 4, and 5 chords, and sometimes gets them to improvise, because a lot of harpists don't know how to do that at all.
Well, I have a theory background. I'm self-taught musician, so I learned to play by ear and then learned theory chords. That's just how my brain works. And I'm just kind of amazed. And this is true of like pianists who play fabulously, but they have no clue what they're doing. They read the music and play the notes as written. And so that's kind of my soapbox thing. If someone is interested in understanding theory, or one of my favorites is like, oh, do you have the music for a happy birthday? I said, you could just pick it out. I said, no, I can't. I can't play by ear. And I always ask the question, have you ever tried? And the answer is always, well, no, because I can't do that. Yeah, Kate never did nothing. So I have my little
spiel.
Not spiel, just my issues that I like to share if someone is interested. So that's where I have fun with, from my experience, where I just try and guide people into exploring new avenues they might not have attempted.
What are some of the everyday tasks you have dealing with customers?
Well, more and more is becoming off email. So I spend a lot of time answering questions by email. Still get phone calls. My day starts with whatever orders have come in overnight on the website. I'm processing orders, pulling, packing, running them through the mail program uh, up until the mailman comes or UPS, and then I'm kind of done for the day on the pressure. Then I'm running reports to see what I'm out of. We have about 100 different vendors that we purchase uh, music, strings, accessories from.
I'm going to speak to that real quick. You know, a lot of stores will have one place where they can order everything from. Harp stores don't have that. There is not one huge warehouse of Amazon that sells only everything harp. Every piece of music that we order, it generally is from a specific person. So there's, we run out of Bonnie Moore stuff, we have to call Bonnie Moore. We run out of Red Barnwell stuff, we have to call Red Barnwell. So it's not like a one-stop shopping, which keeps us very, very busy. Because first of all, you have to establish a relationship with each one of those individuals, and so that's the first step. And then, okay.
So yeah, purchasing, keeping stocked up on stuff. Like I mentioned, Bow Brand. I've been going back. They're in England, so there's a time delay because they're gone for the day now. So I will send a reply back to my rep there, saying yes, send these strings that you can. I understand the back order. I'll be patient. There's not much I can do. So plus, it's also around the world because we're dealing with the UK, which is where Bow Brand is located, and they're 7, 8 hours ahead of us. We have customers and sources in Australia, which is it's tomorrow there.
Yep, they're okay. 14 hours ahead, I think.
Anyway,
yeah.
So just like any business who's doing international stuff, we have that same time restraint. And I don't get up at 2 a.m. to talk to Jenner at Bow Brand. It's just I like my sleep. But anyway, uh, that's a big part of my day is purchasing. And then, of course, there's paperwork. There are bills. Whenever we order something, have to pay those bills and keep track of it. Uh, so the paperwork involved, we're coming up on the end of the half year point, which means the end of the second quarter. So I've got Texas Employment Commission, Texas Workforce Commission. They're going to require their quarterly form. And then IRS, we have payroll taxes that I've been sending in. Have to file reports on that. There's a lot of paperwork involved with any business. And then,
what advice would you offer to young harpists wanting to someday run a music business?
I would say to make sure that you are that you take advantage of all of the social media things that you can, and just keep up with, like, find a mentor that you can follow, and just kind of meld what you know with the things that your mentor offers, or just find a store that, or some kind of a I don't know, find a store that you really enjoy shopping at, and model what you're doing after that.
And my advice would be to uh, get into the business end of things if you're going to run a store of any kind, because understanding profit and loss statements, keeping solvent, how to deal with banks, because you're going to need financing at some point, how you're going to have income coming in, how you're going to manage expenses. But that's the general idea with any business. A long time ago, we had a banker, a couple of bankers come by we were trying to get a mortgage on the building we bought in our earlier days on 1960. And so, of course, that means getting a loan so that you can buy an expensive building and pay it over time. Uh, and these bankers, it was so funny because they said, well, do you have an income statement? And I went, just give me a moment. And so I went and printed out a report and brought them out our income statement. I said, this is only current through last month because, of course, I haven't closed out the books for this month. And they looked at me real strangely and said, well, do you have a balance sheet? And I said, okay, hang on a second. Went back to my accounting program, printed out a report, and handed it over to them. And I said, well, what's wrong? And they said, well, we usually go to a business and ask, are you profitable? And they go to their cash register and count how much money is in there. So the business end of it was something I had done because I've had other businesses before. I've been self-employed most of my life. But understanding running a business, that means proper forms, so things you have to be filling out on a regular basis. If you're going to, we're a Texas corporation, so of course we're set up to collect sales tax, which is required by the comptrollers of Texas. So that is the boring business end of things, to make sure that you are keeping solvent. Selling stuff is great, but that stuff costs you money to have here.
And I think what you have to have, ideally, I think, would be to have 3 people. I always thought it would be great to have 3 harpists running a store. You could have one harpist that maybe is really good at accounting, one harpist that's really good at the technical stuff, and then one that's really good at marketing and just being very welcoming to people who come into the store. So I would say, kind of make a decision how you want to run your business. Do you want to have the necessity to have someone to greet people at the door and be very warm and welcoming and show people around and just be a really good salesperson? And then do you want to kind of not have that and just deal with like a website where you don't have people coming in the store? But you definitely need someone who is going to do the accounting for you. We had quite a few people who are interested in buying the store, and they were not really, they didn't really realize, they thought, oh, how fun, you can have harps and music, but they didn't realize that there's a lot of paperwork that needs to be done with running a store. And so they were not prepared for that. They're actually turned off by that. And it's like, that's the reality of it. You really have to have someone who is very adept with accounting. There was also someone that
general bookkeeping.
Yeah, general bookkeeping. We also had someone interested in buying the business at one point, and she had a really good plan. She had a really good friend who wanted to go into business with her, who was very good at accounting, and we thought that would be a very good combination. So just, you got to think of all of the things that need to get done, and how much of it can you do yourself without driving yourself crazy? How much can you load yourself with? You don't want to try to do it all, because if you try to do it all, then you get burned out real fast. So yeah, so you have to decide what needs to be done, what can you do, what physically and emotionally and mentally can you do by yourself, and then delegate the things that you can't do to somebody else. And if you can find sort of a team that will work with you where you all have the same goal, I think that would be ideal in any kind of a retail situation. But having a harp store is not all about
playing harp.
Playing the harp. We had an employee one time we hired. He seemed like he was really good. Remember that young kid? He was a guitar player. We had him work for us. He came one day and he never came back, because I think that he thought that he was going to be able to come in and sit and play harps all day long. And when he realized that that's not what you do when you have a store, I think he was very, very disillusioned. So make sure that you know the reality of it before you take the big leap of doing something of this magnitude, because it is It's a huge, huge undertaking, which is why you don't see a lot of harp stores, because it's a huge undertaking. And it really, you know, John does the work of two people and I do the work of, so we, between the two of us, there's three jobs that get taken care of.